Welcome, Media Talkers. And today we'll be talking about a movie, TV show, and we'll also be talking about some upcoming news that came around in social media recently. So don't forget to subscribe, press your notification button while you're down there, and also like the video. It takes a quick, easy 3 seconds to do if you like the media talk and stuff that I do. Movies, TV shows, video games, books, etc. So, I am your host, Seth, and let's get talking media talkers. First, we'll talk a movie that came out in 2015. And that movie is called Home. So this movie starts out where an alien species known as the Boos. They are pretty much always running away from another alien species called the Gorg. And so, as they're running away, they're trying to find a new home where the Gorg will never find them. However, there's one problem. They did find a planet, but they found Earth. So, what did they decide to do? Well, let's gather all the humans, put them all in one place, which later in the film will reveal that they placed them all in Australia. And so, as they are placing all the humans everywhere around the world into one place, once they finish that, all the Boos then make their way towards Earth to start living at their new home. And this is where we then see our main character named O decides to, pretty much explain that, he's there to keep away from so he pretty much explains how the Boos work as he's making his way to his new house, and once he makes it there, he decides to, let's throw a housewarming party, because that's the best thing to do at the moment. And so, thing about O that you guys should know as it does reveal it in the long side of the movie, he is pretty much he's the outcast of the Boos. Nobody wants to be his friend. Nobody nobody wants to hang out with him. And we see this once he throws his housewarming party that nobody's coming. However, we do get to see one of the Boos coming out of the elevator. As the elevator dings, the other two Boos in the hallways alright, be quiet, because there's O who's throwing a housewarming party, and like I said, they don't like him. They don't want to be around him. So once O gets alerted that, the elevator just dinged, means most likely somebody just came up, he went to go introduce them, only for the Boos to all fit in one house. And so O goes into this house, and there's all these Boos behind a chair, and as O moves around a few inches and starts looking around, the Boos all just simultaneously move the opposite direction that he looks, which I found funny. And so, as we then see that O is not really doing great with his housewarming party, we then get to see the other main character, the human girl named Tit, as she has revealed that she lost her mother when all the Boos were taking humans, and she didn't get taken because of her pet cat Pig, who was on her head at the time, and the Boos read the cat as not a human, so they moved on. But by the time Tip can look back at where her mom was, she realized she's gone, and now she's gonna go look for her. So, as the Boos are all moving, they move in like quarters of the places that they are. Her apartment complex starts to be invaded by Boos trying to move into the house, so she decides, well, it's time to head out, start going to look for her mom, and that's when we see O. We go back to O, who's clearly sad because he realized nobody's going to go to his housewarming party. And then he sees another Boo who he calls his friend, and he goes down to talk to pretty much Kyle, as Kyle, like all the other Boos, don't like him. He's like, we're not friends. And O's too busy being happy seeing pretty much his friend Kyle, as he then goes and decides to send an invitation to Kyle to where his housewarming party is. And as he does, he quickly realizes that he sent it to everybody in the galaxy. So as Kyle looks at his phone because he got the notification from O, or the invitation, he realizes that he sent it to everyone, as everyone's now focused on him. And Kyle explains to O that if he forgot to not send it to everyone, because he did send it to everyone, that it's going to make his way to the Gorg, and the Gorg going to find them. So they don't want the Gorg finding them because he destroys the planets and tries to take out the Boos because there's something that he has dealing with Captain Smek's staff that he had that he called a shusher. And so he then decides that he figured out that he messed up, and now all of the Boos around the world are now looking for O because he just destroyed what in a day they just moved into a new place. So they're like, well, we just moved here and you're now gonna have them run away because of the Gorg will find them. And so now O is running away, and at the same time Tip is trying to avoid all the Boos, but at this time the Boos are all looking for O, so she thinks that they're looking for her, so then they both go into the same place, which is a gas station, and that's when they run into each other. And at this time, O is more than reluctant to help. He's more than happy to help. Tip pretty much help her do whatever because she accidentally crashed her car running into the gas station. And so he's like, oh, I could fix your car for you. And she's like, my car's not broken. I know what I'm doing, essentially. So we then see just just pretty much, he got stuck in the freezer because Tip trapped him there. And so we see him a bit sad for like a few seconds as we hear Tip try to start the car. The car is indeed broken. So she comes in and O's like, ooh, can I come into the out now? And Tip had no other reasons but to help out. Like, she had to have O help her build the vehicle. And so pretty much after that, the rest of the movie is O promises Tip that she can find her mom, and at the same time he can go and run away from all the Buddhas that are trying to find him. So and then they just pretty much travel all the way to Paris because that's where the Boo headquarters is. So that way he could help her find her mom, and pretty much ultimately for him to just be able to fix his mistakes, and the Gorgs won't go looking for them. And that's pretty much the whole premise of the film, is they pretty much bond together to try to help find Tip's mom at the same time as fix O's mistake. I give this film a 6 out of 10. It's an alright film. DreamWorks. One of the DreamWorks better animated films. Yeah, again, great for the whole family to watch. And yeah, so that's just my personal opinion, because and the reason why I gave it a 6 was because, well, it's pretty much you're getting what you're getting, which is a heartwarming story of a human and a booth trying to navigate their way to find the mom, as well as fix his mistakes. And as we see this is pretty much all you're just getting what you're asking for, was the premise of it. Up next, we'll talk about a show from the network of Cartoon Network. As you see, I'm wearing a shirt of it, and we'll be talking about a cartoon. Mainly, it's about a muscular man who calls himself a hunk and keeps his hair neat, as well as he wears sunglasses, a shirt, and like a black shirt all the time, and then like jeans, and he calls himself Johnny Bravo. And so as we see, each episode's pretty much navigating through his whole life of, he's trying to basically find love. He's going after chicks, but I'm not talking about the animals. And so as he's going through trying to pretty much flirt with them or whatnot, he fails massively. And we see him fail from time to time again, over and over again, in hilarious ways. And so pretty much, yeah, that's the whole basic premise of it, is he's going to test this luck out on all these females, and they all seem to not like his personality. And so there's like a few episodes, like the first one, he's pretty much, first one at least that I've seen that I remember, is he's at the zoo, not to look at the animals, but to yet again try to flirt with a female. And as he's trying to do this and getting pretty much ignored, a zookeeper pretty much bumps him out of her way, and then Johnny's like, oh, okay, this is a female, and to him, like, ooh, he wants to get with her, so he goes to go strike up a conversation, and once he does, she's explaining how there's a gorilla on the loose. And so the rest of The rest of the episode goes that he's trying to get the gorilla back just that way he can go on a date with this girl. Another episode would be, yet again, like when he pretty much accidentally knocks out Santa Claus because he thought there was a stranger on the roof. And as he figured out it's Santa Claus explains that how Johnny Bravo technically pretty much just injured him, so he can't really do much. And so he's just led to do literally nothing. And you can't help give presents to all the boys and girls. So he told Johnny Bravo that he would have to do it since he's the one who broke his arm. And we see Johnny Bravo pretty much play as Santa Claus, just going door to doorstep, chimney to chimney, getting all the kids their gifts for Christmas. And by the end, he gets a gift as well, only to be boxing gloves. And then we hear Santa Claus by the end tells him that is round 2 next year. And that's pretty much that end of the episode. And then one more episode I would like to talk about that I can remember from it is his mom pretty much like making him a suit of pine cones, and she needs more pine cones, so she goes to the forest and explore, only to be gone for like 2-3 days. And Johnny Bravo at this point is starting to get really worried, as he's now going to look for her, only to end up running inside of a cave. And once he gets into that cave, it's too dark, so then he accidentally bumps into a bunch of alarm clocks. And then we see a bear who's the master of all time. So pretty much he wakes up from his hibernation, and he's now mad because Johnny Bravo messed up his hibernation schedule. He's like, all I have to do in hibernation is eat and sleep. He's like, I'm not sleeping, so I guess I'm eating. And decides that he's a bear and he's gonna eat Johnny Bravo. Only for Johnny Bravo to be like, well, what if I can get you to go to sleep in a matter of set time that he gave him? And he's like, all right, you got like 15 minutes to do so. And he's like, all right, bet, and decides to pretty much, see if he could get this bear to go to sleep for hibernation. And he's not doing very great, and this time is pretty much running out. And as he then gets to this, he's like, oh, let's then put on a documentary about trees. The bear ends up falling asleep, and right as he sleeps though, he set an alarm which woke him up because it was the last minute, and he's like, well, your time's up, which in my opinion is like, you set an alarm clock, he beat the timer, you're the one who set the alarm clock to wake you up, so technically Johnny Bravo was in the clear, but to the bear, he's like, well, time's up, I gotta get to eat him because he's not sleeping, and that's his hibernation schedule. So they pretty much do like a whole montage of him running away and the bear looking around for him, only to hear a lullaby by Johnny Bravo's mom, and the bear is getting sleepy, as well as Johnny Bravo is, and they're like, they fall asleep. The mother pretty much takes Johnny Bravo home, only for us to see that the bear is also sleeping with him. And the episode ends with Johnny Bravo just explaining to the camera, breaking the fourth wall, saying this is going to be a long winter. one more thing before we get to the next thing is the Johnny Bravo episodes. They get like you get like 3 episodes before the whole like 30-minute time that they have set up usually, and usually the second one in between we get another like mini series, I guess, of Jungle Boy. And I'll quickly explain the premise. It's about pretty much a child who's in the jungle, and all the animals love him, all but Pink Ape that's supposedly is a king, and his name is Raymond. So King Raymond's like, he doesn't like it, like Jungle Boy, because one, he's getting all the attention that Raymond wants, and two, he tries to keep persuading that Jungle Boy's gonna eventually grow up and, who knows, might hunt them all down. And he's like, we can't just keep him around, because when that happens, it's gonna be a bad day for all the animals. And they pretty much all ignore him because, well, Jungle Boy's nice now. They're not worried about what's gonna be happening when he grows up. And pretty much we just see him interact with Jungle Boy, and it's pretty much how every episode goes with Jungle Boy. And so, in a total of rating for this, it depends. My personal rating, I'd say if you're like 90s, early 2000s, you pretty much know Johnny Bravo. You grew up with it, and you pretty much like, oh, I remember watching this, and you probably give it a high ranking. But if it's just like kids today, they probably won't like watching Johnny Bravo. So it really depends on the age demographic, because of how long ago it was released, and yeah. So me and my personal opinion is like, rating is like, it's up there. It's probably 7, 8 out of 10. Anyways, comment down below tell me any of you media talkers remember this show, or if you agree with my rating. Up next, let's talk some news that at this time recording it was a week ago, like last week. We have social media went nuts over the casting news for Avengers Doomsday. So we see, you would wake up and then you'd see, well, the Avengers Doomsday, Marvel's getting a cast announcement for Avengers Doomsday, and it's streaming. So people would quickly get on, only to see, well, a shadow figure sit down, like pretty much setting chairs with the actor's name. And before I get into that, I like to at least go back towards the future, back to like where it started and where the news is currently at. And so, up to my pretty much knowledge of it is that, well, first we get the announcement of who's directing it, and we figure out it's the Russo brothers, the same people who made Infinity War and Endgame. So people were pretty excited that they're going to do both Doomsday and Secret Wars. And then we also get the news that they're filming it back to back. So after Doomsday, they're going to start filming Secret Wars. And so that was one news. And then the next one, we see a line of just Victor Von Doom. So we see people in the outfits as they announced who, well, was going to play Doom. And at the end, we end up figuring out is Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, as he announces that is the same, he's like different Max, same mission. Some people were happy about it, some people weren't. And so that was the end of that news. And then later on, like about a few months later, we get that cast. And then up to now, we pretty much get like, yeah, so about like a few more weeks ago, we got in leakage of footage, like concept arts of what could possibly be Doomsday and Secret Wars. However, the Russo brothers doing like they're talking about one of their other movies that they recently came out with, and then they get asked about the leak, and they're like, "Oh, those are fake." So pretty much just said, "Oh, those are fake. Can't really do much with those one." And that was the news that they were like, "Oh, none of it's real or whatnot." Trying to in my opinion, I think that they're just pretty much trying to not make too much hype out of it. But yet again, I don't know why they would do it. Why would they give an artist to make those concept art and not use them? So pretty much decide what you think it is, if it's real or fake. But we also get in another interview that they did where they were explaining that RDJ is pretty much doing the backstory, origin story of Doomsday, helping like write it into the film, and he's having a blast with it. That's another like interviews section they have. Now let's get to the one that we got in last week, which is the casting announcement. And so, like I said, you see it starts off with a shadow figure just placing a chair, and the chair reveals the actor who plays Thor, which is Chris Hemsworth. And so we pretty much go ahead, and that's it for like 15, 20 minutes. And then they bring another chair out, and then it just pretty much goes on until like for 5 hours. We get a long thing of each casting of the chairs. However, they made it a little more interesting. So as you're waiting for like 15, 20, 30 to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, you're sitting there, and then the next thing you know that, oh, there's going to be another chair places when you hear a theme song, the Pacific Marvel movie theme. And you know, oh, there's going to be an actor from this movie that's coming up next. And so some of the ones that we got was Ant-Man, Professor X, Magneto, and then we also got to see like Cyclops, RDJ as Doom, and Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Shuri, and Namor. And there's a list online somewhere. You can look it up for more characters. Those are just a few of the casting that are indeed joining. But yet again, there's other like people's characters that most people are thinking that are going to be in the film, but yet again hasn't been announced yet. Like Tom Holland, Spider-Man wasn't on there, Doctor Strange, and characters like that. We didn't pretty much see them, so. Or like Star-Lord, but yeah, again, we might get another announcement eventually, hopefully. They give us the rest of it. But we also know that both Doomsday and Secret Wars being yet again filmed back to back. That's at least one thing. And so, at least like a few things now we can get into that I would like to get into, which is what I think I would like to see and that happened, like to see in the movie, at least with cast wise. So we get to see characters that are returning are like Thor, like I said at the beginning, there's Thor. And then another one that's on the list is like Loki. And I think that we should get to see the scene that them reunite as brothers, like have Loki and Thor interact with each other, because that's something that I believe most Marvel fans would want to see, those two interact. Clearly that Thor misses his brother, so the chance to see this one, which is yet again an alternate reality one, but still, yeah, it's just pretty much the past Loki, not the one that he knows. That would still be interesting to see, as well as I'd like to see like Gambit doing a bit more than what he did in Deadpool and Wolverine, because that moment pretty much would be more exciting, and I liked the I like the character Gambit, and I would like to see more of what he can do in the film. Hopefully this episode was exciting as we talked about a 2015 movie called Home, and we also got to talk about an old 1990s, early 2000s TV show, Johnny Bravo, and we also get to talk, which I would think is the most exciting part of the Doomsday news. So, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, like what you're excited about Doomsday, what, like I mentioned earlier, what you think about my ratings of the movie and TV show, as well as just comment down anything you'd like. Make sure you press the notification, like the video if you like this, and also go to my Spotify to listen to 15 other episodes that aren't on YouTube here. And so, with that, I am your host, Seth, and I'll talk next week some more media talk.